What's up tech fans, Kevin here on Tech Tomorrow bringing you guys another accessory review, and today we're taking a look at the Max Nighthawk X8 backlit mechanical keyboard. Now this is a part of many similar lines of keyboards that all have pretty much the same features, but the main thing that distinguishes the X8 is that it uses brown cherry MX switches as opposed to the blue switches in the X7 and the red switches in the X9. So you guys know the drill by now. We're going to talk about what features it has, how customizable it is, and of course how it performs to let you know whether or not it's worth its MSRP of $144.99. So let's check it out. So first off, as the name implies, this is a backlit keyboard. This particular one, as you can see, features a couple different colors going on. The color lights are, however, not customizable. You can choose between a couple different colors when you order the keyboard, but once you get it, the color you chose is what you're stuck with. There are some lighting options for things like how bright the keys are or if they pulsate or not, but past that, the colors are set. Now, backlit keys aside, the Nighthawk is pretty simple and straightforward when it comes to aesthetics. There's not really any fancy shaping or over-the-top style going on here, just a good, solid rectangle. Though the Windows key design has been replaced, as well as having a couple customizable key replacements, including a nice little portal reference and clock keys to replace the F1 through F12 buttons. Now, along with these replacement keys, the Nighthawk does come with one extra little accessory right outside of the box, and that's a wrist rest. Now, in this case, it's not one of those plastic ones that just attaches to the bottom of your keyboard, but rather a separate cloth one, which does a pretty good job of keeping your wrists nice and comfortable. So that's how the keyboard looks and when you get right out of the box right away. Now let's talk about special features and what makes the Nighthawk possibly worth getting over its competition. Now, as I said earlier, this is a part of a line of different keyboards whose main difference is which switches you get based on preference. The brown ones in this case gives you a nice little tactile response while maintaining the low force of the red switches, as opposed to the higher resistance of the blue ones, giving it a nice balanced approach, making it appropriate for use in multiple styles of games or just for some heavy-duty typing. Another nice background feature that we are seeing in this keyboard that's getting featured in a lot more gaming keyboards these days is full N key rollover, meaning that no matter how many keys you press simultaneously, they're all going to register. In addition to that, it's also got alternative functions for all of the F keys. 1 through 6 double as multimedia controls, 7 through 11 for switching between different macro profiles, which I'll get to in a bit, and F12 is used for activating the game mode so you can disable that pesky little Windows key. Last but not least, the keyboard does also feature a small hub to plug other devices into. You've got your microphone and audio jacks, as well as a pair of USB 2.0 ports, each capable of supplying 100 milliamps of power. Now, some other minor functions worth noting right away is that it does include a heavy-duty braided cable, so the cable does have a little extra durability, and the USB connector is gold-plated, so it'll stay shiny longer. This one also has an adjustable height between two options, either just simply lying flat on your desk or slightly elevated. Now, as I said earlier, some of the function keys do have an alternative use as switching between different macro profiles, and as you've probably noticed by now, the Nighthawk does not have any dedicated macro buttons. So if you want to use macros and you download their customization software, you'll have to replace one of the standard keys with an alternative macro option, of which you can have 10 different macros set up per each profile. Now, in all honesty, the lack of any dedicated macro buttons really isn't that big of a loss. No individual game is going to ever really require you to use every single button on the keyboard, so you can customize each profile to fit what macros work for what game you're currently playing. And by not using any dedicated buttons, it helps keep the overall keyboard much more trim. So with all that out on the table, what's the final verdict on the Nighthawk? Well, I think the easiest way to sum it up is that it's a keyboard that heavily favors function over style. Sure, it has backlit keys and a few thematic replacement keys, but the overall design is very, very simple, and in all honesty, a little bit on the bland side. You can't customize the colors of the keys, and there are no dedicated macro buttons. But at the same time though, while the keys don't have customizable colors, they ace their performance test. Not having macro buttons keeps the whole thing nice, light, and trim, and while it's simple looking, it's incredibly sturdy. This keyboard is all about minimal frills and peak performance. If you're in the market for a keyboard that just gets the job done without having to deal with all these extra bells and whistles, then it is an excellent choice for the MSRP of $144.99. And if you want a different type of switch, well, as I said earlier, the X7 and X9 are basically the same thing with different switches. The X7 model gives you blue switches for the same MSRP of $144.99, while the red switches on the X9 will just cost you an extra $5. Well, that was my review of the Max Nighthawk X8 backlit mechanical keyboard. If you guys are interested in grabbing one or just want to look up a little more on them, we do have a link posted down below with pricing and availability. As always, guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to let us know by hitting that thumbs up button. We always appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber yet and you liked what you saw, then hit that button too, because we've got more great PC content on the way. If you're interested in more gaming specific stuff or just more videos from me, you can also check out my own channel and Twitter, which are linked down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching Tech Tomorrow. I'm Kevin Kenson, and I'll see you later.